What's up, nerds and nerdettes? We are back at the 30 Nerdy Podcast, and I have convened the Council of Nerds here. We're talking all things WandaVision and the future of the MCU. First up, we've got one of the three fat nerds himself, Rich. Rich, how are you, brother?
Awesome. How's everybody else doing? I'm. Some would say that I'm explosive to be with you, gentlemen,
tonight. Oh man.
Can-Am from the ODPH, better known as the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour.
What is going on, fam? WandaVision. What can we say? I mean, we'll get into it, but wow, just wow,
brilliance. And of course, JT from the East Coast Avengers, my Tennessee brother from the other side of the volunteer state. Good to have you back, man.
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
And the man who needs no introduction. He's all over Twitter. He kills it on Twitter. He is keeping us up to date with everything that comes out on every streaming service. There are some things I don't know if dropped until this man lets me know. Dre Driven, how are you, son?
I'm good. And then as the word of pad, it was Agatha all along.
Well, like I said, we have convened to talk about WandaVision primarily and talk about, theories that were busted, theories that were somewhat of a letdown possibly, and where we're moving forward with Falcon and Winter Soldier in a week or so. And then we got the teaser to Hawkeye and what else is on the horizon for the MCU in the upcoming year. So let's get down to it. So first off, one by one, JT, what'd you think of WandaVision?
Well, before we start, I would like to give a shout out to the director, Matt Shakman. I believe I'm pronouncing his last name right. I apologize if I'm not, because he has been nominated for a DGA award for Outstanding Directorial Achievement Award. So congratulations on that. That just, right there in itself,
well earned.
Absolutely. I personally gave this whole show a 10 out of 10. I looked at it at a different site than people. Yes, it's fun to theorize, and yes, it's fun to have these nice little, ooh, I think this should happen or this could happen. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not the writer, and I don't know what the future is of Marvel. So whatever they had and whatever they planned, it was perfect for me. Mm-hmm. Would I have done it a little bit different? Obviously, yeah, I think we all can say that, but the way they did it was perfect. We got Wanda's entire backstory, which we knew nothing about. Very tidbits of it, but everything else was, perfect, honestly.
I loved the aspect that there's like 3 character origin stories in this show that just they go by us. Not some big whole movie just for an Agatha origin or a Spectrum origin or anything like that. We got little mini origin stories for different characters, and now they're here, and we didn't have to go through 5 movies to get 5 different stories told. They're here, kind of like they did with Parker in Civil War. He's been the spider guy, as Stark calls him, and now he's there. So I enjoyed that. Ken,
right.
What were one theory of yours that got busted?
Well, one theory that did get busted is I thought we were going to dabble a little bit more with Doctor Strange on this show. Mm-hmm. And one that really stuck out was the whole Arrow engineer that Monica Rambeau knew. That even if we were not going to see said actor or actress on screen, I figured we were going to get a name drop of some sort, because obviously we know the Fantastic Four movie is in pre-production. There is no casting, but if they wanted to just kind of throw that curveball in there and get some fans talking, they definitely could have. And they alluded to enough. And if you really want to believe that who she met up with during the base, because we are talking spoilers here on the show, and episode 7 was the aerospace engineer, I strongly say you're wrong.
So before we talk anymore, I wrote down for our notes when we do our podcast on Saturday, on Wednesday, that they had a Q&A with the director, with Matt, and they were asking him questions like this, and some of them were that he pointed out was he did state that WandaVision was 10 episodes long, and then the pandemic got worse and they had to cut it, and they had to cut a lot of scenes because of it. Senior Scratchy, the rabbit, there was a deleted scene that they had to, the CGI, they couldn't get it correct in enough time, but he was supposed to turn into a big demon. He didn't name drop Mephisto, which everyone is Mephisto apparently. But he also said, I'm not putting blame on anyone. However, the aerospace engineer was never supposed to be anyone. It was literally supposed to be a nobody, but fans took it and went and ran off with it. He said when he watched that episode and he got on Twitter afterwards, he was like, oh shit. It was like, probably saw that coming, but he was like, it really was not supposed to do it. He said, honestly, I wasn't given anything, like when I wrote it or, when directed it and stuff, and we all, met and everything, he was like, none of us even considered name dropping a Reed Richards because, like you alluded to, Ken, it's not even, they haven't even started on anything. They haven't even casted it. They haven't even, so to put that a few years before, it's, if you cast a John Krasinski like everybody wants them to, you're saying, John, sit here, you're going to be our Reed Richards, but you're not going to appear for a number of years, which could happen, but I don't know. I think it was very interesting in this Q&A because we did learn a lot of the CGI got cut out. The deleted scene with the big demon. We were supposed to get 10 episodes, but we only got 9. And then the aerospace engineer is, from his words, a nobody. So, yeah.
That's interesting. Dre, what were your thoughts on the series as a whole?
Well, I enjoyed it from start to finish. A 10 for 10. I got to see. I'm a sitcom guy, so I love all those callbacks. How it played out. My theory, I thought it was Quicksilver. I really wanted the Quicksilver for another dimension, but another verse. But it happened. But 10 for 10, it was great. It ended really well. Like I said, all the fan theories went out the window because But all in all, I enjoyed it. I'm thoroughly happy that we got it, and I think it did a good job.
Awesome. Rich, I have a question I want to pose to you, and anyone else after this can follow up with their opinions as well. Do you think that, because I get this from, I get constant messages and text from friends, either where I live or that I've met throughout life. After each episode, I'd get messages like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Let me know when you've seen it. Here's my theory. Here's my theory. Here's what I think's next episode. Here's what I think's the finale. Rich, do you think that as far and as fast as we nerds went with theories, from Reaper to Nightmare to Mephisto to Doctor Strange to Ian McKellen's Magneto showing up, did all of us theorizing somewhat cause not a letdown in the finale when our personal theories didn't pay off? But do you think that hurts us in the long run? Not just theorizing, because you can have theories, but uber theorizing, I guess.
I mean, if you have critiques or theories in there, they have merit, they're always good. I think that I don't think it's just on us here. I'm going to say that in this case. Disney, Marvel in particular, however you want to break it down, decided that they wanted to throw an over amount of Easter eggs in everywhere. That there was no way they could cash in on all of them. There was no way they were going to. There was no way they were going to try. It was just kind of like, hey, let's red herring, let's throw it out there. And I mean, even the director, as JT pointed out, has admitted that, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. And that's what you have to do to like people. But unfortunately, our before this, our only other delve into a world in television form, in major television form, I should say, on Disney Plus, the size of WandaVision was The Mandalorian. And The Mandalorian over-delivered a lot. So us as content creators and nerds just in general, it's not against them to be like, oh man, they're going to do something big, because we just got done watching the second season of The Mandalorian where we got Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker. And it was an amazing, like this, it was like, who would have imagined we would have gotten all of that? Mm-hmm. So then we see all these wonderful Easter eggs and you're like, oh man, I know this story. It's going to be the Avengers Disassembled. It's going to be, Vision Quest. It's going to be House of M. Oh man, they put that bottle of wine in there. It's got to be House of M. and we went to the races with it. And I mean, early on, myself and Diesel were just like, I remember sitting on the show and we just looked at each other and we're just like, there's no way they can keep all these promises. So like, it's going to be a letdown to some, and there was some probably let down, but I think that I'm going to go back to what JT said. Was it what I expected? No. Was it what a lot of people called and expected? No, but the beauty of it was, I thought it played out well. Like I trusted the system. At some point I said, in the beginning, it's like a little slow for me. I don't know where they're going. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I know what they should be doing in the comic books, but they're throwing 50 looks at us. They're just throwing us off. But when we got to those last 2 episodes in particular, it was like, it came together like this wonderful package. And it was, it was Marvel. It was MCU. It did, like, as you mentioned, it saved some time. We didn't need a movie to tell us all of this, a 2-hour, 3-hour movie to tell us this. We got these episodes, and at the end of the day, it came together well. They did what Marvel does best in the MCU, that is, and they gave us some drama. They gave us the tug at the heartstrings. They gave us a finality, and then they gave us the tease. And so at the end of the day, they brought it all together. Once again, I mean, it should warn us in the future to be careful. Like as nerds as a whole, not, whether you're listening or creating or anything, it should tell us to be careful. Because it might not come out the way we want it to come out, but at the same point in juncture, nothing hurts when you're creating that buzz. They were getting big numbers for that buzz. That's why they bring it out weekly instead of doing it, all in one shot. Because if you do it all in one shot, it's like Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai season 3 was amazing. I don't know if anybody disagrees with that, but it was amazing. But guess what? They got 7 days of basically 7 days of social media hype, and then all of a sudden it just turned to, can't wait till the next season, and now we gotta wait till the end of this year. Whereas when you do it every week, and it's only one season, but you do it every week, every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, they were getting, we're getting it down, we're beating it down, everybody's talking about it as they see it, they want to talk about it, they want to tweet about it, they want to interact about it. And then by the time it dies down at about Tuesday-ish, Wednesday, Thursday, we're speculating into the next one, into that. So I mean, it worked out really well. They called that right on the money when they started doing it for the Mandalorian. I'm glad in essence that they did it. Somebody had asked me if I thought the show would have been better if we could have binged it. Oh, of course, because when you got to the end, it made all the sense in the world. But once again, it doesn't make a business sense. Yeah, and that's what I'm big on. Even as you guys know, when we're talking wrestling, me and Ken talk wrestling, I'm big on, hey, listen, I understand what I want as a fan, but I also understand what makes the most sense in business. And what made more sense in business is doing it every Friday. And they're going to do the same thing with Falcon and Winter Soldier. But this is the nice part about that coming up, is it's going to be different from this. And I like where we're at, where we're doing different things. For a while, I think we could all agree the MCU kind of was the same thing. And as much as I love those movies, they were the same movie.
Cookie cutter.
It was basically, okay, here's the problem. We're gonna smash our way through it onto the next problem. And now we're seeing some drama. We're seeing some, humanity. We're seeing it's amazing. We're seeing some backstories, and they don't feel rushed. I was on the edge of my seat coming in, because I was like, okay, this is where it should end. Oh, it didn't. Oh, we didn't get Doctor Strange. Oh, because that was prevailing. Oh, we didn't get this and that. Oh, we're tying into 2-3 movies now. Because we with the bonus scenes, like, oh wow, they did this well. They wrapped it up well. Some questions still, but hey, why wouldn't you throw the red herrings in there? It got all of us talking. We're talking about characters that nobody would have ever been interested in. Who the hell would have thought in 2021 somebody would be like, hey, you think the Grim Reaper's going to show up on the show? Nobody. But man, they put a little mask and a little cut scene that somebody caught, and all of a sudden somebody's bringing up the Grim Reaper. And I'm glad they didn't go with the Grim Reaper, because nobody would have cared.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, though? It teased enough. So they brought us along for the ride. I think the only thing that really hurt them at the end of the day, though, was you had the bar set. I understand it's not Marvel, but it's Disney Plus. You had the bar set with Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian to launch the ships that it's launching, going into what, 4 different shows next season or next year, I should say, or this year, later this year. Why am I saying even next year? It's this year. to launch those ships, they had to make some big moves, and they pretty much every other episode we were getting huge revelations and fixing things from the past, and then hey, just when you thought that this show couldn't get any better, here's Luke Skywalker for you, doing Darth Vader things, and of course drawing the Rogue One comparison. So I mean, it was up against that, so it was never going to win as far as because it was always going to be south of somebody's expectations, but I think they did it well. I think it was a very good show. I feel like it got us to where we need to be going forward in this phase. I know it's a long way around it, but I guess there's no real short answer for that.
Yeah, it was a great first crack at Marvel doing their MCU TV. And the reason I say MCU TV is because we've seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we've seen Runaways, we've seen all these other shows, and like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, blah, 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 all those characters. But we also know that those aren't canon in the MCU timeline yet. So I think for them to first start this this crack at, okay, we're going to completely tie these shows into the movies. So you've got to know, if you want to know what's going on and why is Scarlet Witch? Why are they calling her Scarlet Witch? Or we've never heard her. Why is she being called that? Oh, we'll go back to WandaVision. You got to watch WandaVision to know, to understand this. I think they did a great job at the show, man. I sit back and I see all these TikToks of people blasting other people because their theories were wrong. And that's, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sit here and put anybody on blast. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell everyone that's listening now, fan theories are fan theories only. These WandaVision was directed, written, filmed months before they even started this. They knew what was going on. We don't. So it's fun to speculate. So, we can sit here and we can say the aerospace engineer is Reed Richards. That's easy. But in reality, it's kind of like, well, they probably didn't think that 3-4 months ago when they were writing it. So how would that make sense back then? So and to go into the next phase or the next show with Falcon Winter Soldier, I'm going to say it right now. I don't think a lot of people are going to be theorizing anything. I think we're going to be completely thrown off with what we're going to get. It's going to be a brand new, literally a brand new hitter, up at the plate. People are going to be, really fascinated with it. But I also think they're going to be like, all right, let's go to the next one. Like next episode, please. Like WandaVision had so much to talk about because there were so many things to talk about. I feel like Falcon Winter Soldier is just going to be straightforward. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some hints, some Easter eggs in there, but overall, it's not going to. I posed this question on our Twitter a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "Is Falcon Winter Soldier going to be better, worse, or about the same?" And a lot of people commented and said, "We can't really answer that because it's on a whole different playing field." And I agree with that. You can't say what's going to be better. You can't say it's going to be worse. You just got to take it as it is, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. With that, like I said, Falconary said it's going to be straight up action. Like I said, WandaVision, we got a story, we got feeling, we got little emotions here and there, and I think it goes back to the fact that we've been spoiled and thirsting for Marvel. And that was the thing. So when they finally brought something out after we was going crazy because we haven't seen anything. So I think that and the expectation that this was the first show that's starting this off kind of had us high and was like looking here and there. But I think, like I said, we just was so dead with Marvel for so long, and they spoiled us because every movie had a connection or they had a Easter egg. Remember Iron Man 2, I believe, with the Captain America shield. So they kind of spoiled. So when the fans go off, you can't really blame the fans because y'all been doing it to us since Iron Man 1. So, but I think Falcon should be more like they said. There's more action. I know a rumor said you might see a mutant in there. What's his name? Omega Red supposed to be showing up in there, but but I'm not gonna think. I'm just gonna watch and see what happens because I don't want to be like, oh yeah, this is I learned my lesson from this one, so it's gonna sit back and relax and enjoy ride and see where it goes.
Spot on. People are gonna learn their lesson. That's the biggest takeaway. People are gonna sit here and they're gonna be like, well, I'm just not gonna all these speculation, these people posting videos and tweets about it, I promise you guys, it is going to be so quiet. People are gonna be like, nope. Even for me and on our podcast, I really do believe like I think everyone got the Agnes was Agatha Harkness. I think a majority of people got that, but that was also like, I feel like they said they put that out there enough for us to figure that one out. The rest of them was no. The Darkhold, that one got me. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And Ken, a question for you is, as soon as you saw that book, did that take you to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like me?
I immediately screamed out, Coulson, where is he?
Yeah.
The minute I saw that book, I'm like, oh, that's the Darkhold. Oh, okay. Where is Coulson? Where is everybody? Because if you have not been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Darkhold is a part of that. So now, can we just officially say AOS is a part of the MCU?
Yeah.
It's a done deal.
Yeah, I think so. I think in a grand scheme of things, it's like bits and pieces. Like I think up to season 2 it was definitely a part of the MCU, and then keep on going a little bit. A couple seasons later, it kind of went off on its own track, and then it kind of came back around with the Darkhold and with Robbie Reyes and all that. And that's immediately when I saw that Darkhold, I was like, okay, if that's going to be in the MCU, there's your opening for Ghost Rider. There's your opening for so many other. I mean, like, there's my speculation going.
How'd she get
elsewhere.
it?
That's
she had to take it from him.
Yeah. I also want to say, can we please sign a petition, start something to have Catherine Hahn, no matter what villain, hero, nosy neighbor she is, can she please stay in the MCU? She is perfect. I love her.
I mean, Wanda did say, I know where to find you when I need you. So she's gonna be here. She got to, because if Wanda's on the next chapter of this Doctor Strange stuff, she gotta be here. She gotta show up again because she's locked in now. Because Wanda needs that training or whatever she needs from her. She needs to get it from her, and she gotta find her. And Wanda ain't going nowhere, so she's not gonna go nowhere too, I don't think.
Right.
I saw a funny interview with Catherine Hahn where she's talking about WandaVision and all that, and she's like, I knew nothing about this world, so I'd come in and there'd be like this drawing board and be like, this is what your next scene is, and this is what you're going to do, and it's going to link to this, and you're going to have the Darkhold and all that. And she's like, okay, all right,
okay, all
right,
yeah, I'll
cool.
sit here.
Just she hadn't read.
The thing that I will say is the shining experience for this, though, is I'll just throw it out there for the three vendors. Of course, we like to have a lot of fun, so we did let you guys will hear it soon, but we did let Diesel have his victory lap, because he was the one that was saying that nobody was going to be right. So he got his victory lap. But the fun part about his victory lap is he had a little fun with, it wasn't this person, it wasn't that person, and he did that. But then he said something that resonated with me, and I never thought I'd hear him. He was like, but at the end of the day, last 2 episodes really good. It ended well. I was just like, because he
coming from Diesel, that's huge.
He hated this show. He thought this was the worst show he's ever watched. He was cussing at me that I made him watch it. And then he came into the last 2 episodes and was like, oh, well, you got to remember, he doesn't read comic books.
Yeah.
He didn't care about the teasers. He didn't care about any of that. He was like, listen, I want the MCU. He's an MCU fan. He doesn't read into it, which is fine. That's the best pulse you can have, is somebody who doesn't read into it. He didn't care about, he's like, I don't care about these Easter eggs. I want to know where this story is going. I want to see where this connects into what I want to see. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that at the end of the day, he ended up liking it, was like, okay, well, that was good enough for me, because I thought I was going to talk to him, especially after the next to last episode. He was like, that was good. I was like, okay, all right. And then when it came to the finale, I didn't even ask him. He just was like, "Oh man, I really enjoyed that." Because I guess Ron had said that he didn't like it as much because he was wrong. He was one of those people who took it a little hard that he was wrong. But Diesel was like, "I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it ended perfectly." And I was like, okay, so I was really a little peak there. It was kind of interesting to me, but like I said, as a person who doesn't read comics, that's the guy you have to really look at. Me and Ron read comic books. He doesn't. He's the audience that you're supposed to be reaching.
Mm-hmm.
So if it reached him, that means it's going to reach anybody.
And plus, okay, it's my bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was going to piggyback off something you said, Dre, too. Is with this show, and actually, I'm going to make a statement, then I want to pose a question to the panel. With this show being the first MCU property that we have seen in well over a year, I think the anticipation from the fans, from the mainstream fans and the comic fans, was super huge. And I think that that's what sparked all the fan theories, because everybody has been so anticipating something post Endgame, post Far From Home, if you want to make the connections there. So let me say this. This was originally supposed to be the second show on the slate. Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to come out first. Had the original lineup stayed and Wanda was coming second after Falcon and Winter Soldier, do you think the show would have done as well as it did?
Well, first we got to dial back a little bit more, because Black Widow was coming before all this stuff came out. So that was true. Jumping off Falcon. But I think, I mean, it depends how Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I think is going to be excellent, how it ended, and if it was hyped up enough and people were enjoying it, they would jump to the next one. That's what I think would have happened with WandaVision. I think it would have been okay. Like I said, it's the first thing we got in over a year, so the hype is there. But I think if Falcon and Winter Soldier delivered, and it will deliver, I believe, it would have helped out WandaVision too as well.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think regardless what came first or what came second, I think the hype around it will still be different. It's like what I alluded to earlier. It's two completely different things. Like Dre said, Falcon Winter Soldier, action, but WandaVision's all sorcery and magic and talking about backstory and talking about two characters, and we get more about that. And each episode, it kind of slowly said, like, we're going to tell you this, but you got to wait. And I feel like with Falcon and Winter Soldier, it'll do the same thing, but I don't think it'll have that cliffhanger like every episode did. I really do believe that we'll get they'll go somewhere, meet up somewhere, and then it'll end, and then we'll pick up the next episode. So there's no like, oh my God, dude, what's going on? But with WandaVision, it's more of, when Agatha had her kids and said, that's chaos magic, that means you're the Scarlet Witch. People were like, yo, what's next? Like that, it's more of that. And I feel like regardless, wherever that came in, first, second, third, fourth, when you hear that and you're like, I haven't heard, she has not been called Scarlet Witch in 7 years since her appearance. That's huge. That's going to have hype around it. So I think, again, regardless of where it was slated, I still think it would have delivered, honestly.
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think that I'm going to play both sides here. Devil's advocate for both sides. I think that it wouldn't have had as big of an effect because we would have already been watered down a bit with MCU content. But I think it would have had a huge effect because those two things that we were supposed to get first are more earthly. Guns, martial arts, human beings, storylines. It's more human. It's more down to earth. And that would have just been like, okay, there's not really infinity stones. There's not space in these two things. There's, a guy who's a 100-year-old soldier who had his arm ripped off and he's metal, but that's still a little more believable than a sorceress from the multiverse, or a synthetic android, or another witch who's 450 years old. So both of them would be more believable scenarios. Then we would have gotten to WandaVision, and you probably would have seen a lot more people. To be honest, I think it being its first one helped its grasp by the watchful eye, because it didn't give us enough time to question everything, because your average fan is going to be like, what the hell is this? Like this is kind of obscure for me. This is obscure for me. This is out in left field. Sorcery, she's created her own dimension that's sitcoms, and they're on the outside, and what time is it? Like we were so ready for something. Just give us something that I think we had less people questioning. And now, looking back at it, as if it came out in the order it was supposed to come out, you would have had started with more human aspects of the MCU, everyday soldiers, and then we would have gotten the sorcerer. And so I think that it's a hard question to answer. I do think it would have been as good, but I don't think it would have been as talked about. If that makes sense.
I get what you're saying, because I kind of agree with it. I think that Falcon and Winter Soldier is a guaranteed bet. You're playing with house money. It's the same thing we've been used to. We are just talking about, for better or for worse. It's the same thing we've been used to in the MCU. So it's not like you're reinventing the wheel for that show. So no matter where that comes out, it's going to do well, because we're used to the superhero beat up, go on to the next thing, beat up the next guy, et cetera, et cetera. I do think it did definitely behoove WandaVision to come out first in this case, because if it would have came out second, I don't know, maybe people would have been like, well, we saw it, we tried it, we're good. We're going to just move on to the next thing instead of dealing with this again. I mean, I don't think either way it would have hurt Falcon and Winter Soldier, but it would have definitely not done as well if it had come out after.
Yeah, it's one of those really good questions that I think this show really benefited from it. And I think that's what caused so many fans to come up with really crazy theories. Because if you really break down the story of Wanda Maximoff post Endgame, they tied in so many different comic stories that everybody that goes to the shops each week and reads the comics every day, you had an idea what they're going with. Avengers Disassembled, one of my personal favorite Avengers stories of all time. Tom King's The Vision was influenced in there. Vision Quest, like Rich touched upon, from Avengers West Coast. They tied in so many different elements, and they juggled it very well. Like, that's the one thing that I think this show doesn't get enough credit for, is they borrowed just enough from each story and made it into the show that you didn't feel like, okay, they're telling one story, but it was also like they're giving enough respect to each story with a little bit here and there that it wasn't so overwhelming. Like, everybody ran with House of M because of a wine bottle. And it's like, no, if you really sit down and break it down, it's not that at all. There are elements they're borrowing from it, sure. But is it House of M? No, because if you know the whole story with it, obviously there's a certain M word that has not been said in the MCU yet, which I'm still calling they're going to say in Eternals, because that's going to have so much Easter eggs in it. It's going to look like an entire football field. That's what I really think of Eternals, to really get people to watch it. Sorry, that's my official take on that movie. But anyway, I digress. So with WandaVision, they had enough that it just was causing the fan base to get involved. And for all the mainstream fans to just watch the movies and the TV shows, they were starting to take some vested interest and start taking some guests. And I think that it just helped build the hype for this, that the show being so different than what we've seen with the MCU so far, which I personally loved, because like Rich touched upon, when it gets to be, wash, rinse, repeat, what's the incentive to, continue it? This had a whole different vibe to it. And then they did the slow burn build. Then when you get to episode 4 and you hear that Jimi Hendrix song, everything changed. And then they still go further, and they're still giving you little Easter eggs here and there, which might have been sensory overload, sure. But for a property such as Wanda and Vision, who, let's face it, to the mainstream audience, are they really household names? Prior to this show, debatable. post show, damn right, it had to help them really get more people involved.
Like the Guardians of the Galaxy. Three
Exactly.
Guardians in the MCU, not a household name.
And I think also what WandaVision did is like a show, shine a light on mental health a lot. And,
Great call, Dre.
I mean, people can relate. Some people relate to what she's going through. So that's kind of, so it was deep. It was deep, deep enough, but entertaining at the same time. But it touched different bases. Then it was the family thing, big on families first and everything else. So it was different elements of this show that touched different parts of people that people could relate to. And I think that's why as well, it was so successful, in my opinion, as well.
It also did, it made a lot of former films and previous films that we've seen that much better, in my opinion. Age of Ultron, now that I've seen this, it makes it so much better.
Would you say it's a good movie, JT?
Yeah. I love Age of Ultron.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Oh no, I have to settle this Twitter debate because I know when this topic comes up, we get hit on Twitter a lot about this. So
I genuinely love the movie. I think, in the movie's sake, in the whole MCU, it's in the top 8, in my top 8.
Okay.
But for the 4 Avengers films, it is the weakest.
I will give you that.
I think people take that and kind of mix it up. I feel like when they hear Age of Ultron, they're like, oh, that's the worst one, or that's one of the worst movies. It's like, okay, but is it the worst Avengers movie, or is it the worst MCU movie? Because we know, even having Darcy and Jimmy Woo and Monica, like these names who are not brand new, but Darcy and Jimmy Woo, let's just go with there. They took sidekick characters and C-list characters. I'll even go C-list. And they made them, Jimmy Woo freaking blew up. Like yeah. What? Darcy has her own, her that whole clique that she has, fans will go to her for, whatever, and want her back in the MCU as much as they can get. Jimmy Woo, everybody wants an Agents of Atlas show with him on there, or like a X-Files type thing. Like, you don't get that with them not being in it. And I'm not gonna lie, when this show was first announced and they said they're going to have Randall Park and Kat Dennings reprise their roles, I was like, what the hell? Where is this going? Like, 2 characters from 2 completely different, franchises, not franchises, but movie franchises, putting in one about a show about a witch and a robot. Like, where, like, that's when it really started, when I was like, okay, what is there even going to talk about? What is this show going to be about? But no, knowing that backstory, that it was Wanda who stopped the bomb. It was, their whole family ties, which you can now get rid of Magneto ever being put as her father in the MCU. Yeah. That's done. Unless somehow they, just write him in there.
Maybe he dropped them off at those people's stoop to protect them.
Maybe, I don't know. That would just feel like fan writing at that point. If they're going to do anything, they would have one of the Magnetos play him in the as the father, but and not call him Magneto. Just call him something else. But then in the show, you realize that this is why it's now sitcoms, because Wanda loves sitcoms. You don't really get if we're being honest, that's the last time we saw Wanda ever be genuinely happy, is back then.
Was before the
everything else growing up. She was she was a volunteer for Strucker and the Mind Stone, and then she gets her powers. That's got to be world shaking. And then she goes and fights a robot to fight the Avengers, and then she has her brother killed, and then she's stuck at home, and then she kills a bunch of people in Lagos, and then
Vision dies.
and then Vision dies again, and then she, like it's so many things, and you don't really get to see her ever have a happy moment until we see that as she's a young Wanda Maximoff in this show. So it's a really good adaptation of the emotional roller coaster that people go through.
Trauma.
Yeah, it was. I just can't say enough about this show, honestly, and I don't think that has a bad saying to what Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be, because I still think it's going to be great. But man, WandaVision, it's high up on there. It really is.
They also really brought home in those final scenes that they did during the episode before the finale, when she takes her through the quote unquote reruns of her life. She's like, you came home after 5 years, you reappeared after 5 years, and you had no one. Parents were dead, your brother's dead, Vision's dead. So I don't blame you for wanting to create this, Wanda. You're not a villain for this.
Nope.
You know, we've all lost things, and we all would do, you know, even Spectrum, or whichever name they're going to plan on giving her, says, you know, I'd want my mom back. If I had your powers and your ability, I'd bring my mom back in a heartbeat.
And can we just say what a great job Tiana Paris did on this show? Like, I know Catherine Hahn was definitely the MVP, but there's got to be some praise given to Paris about this one.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously stepping up and just really stealing the scenes when she's in it.
Oh, absolutely. I
She
did
kept
like
you grounded in her performance, because
It was funny.
There was a lot of not silliness, but abstractness going on in like Vision's performance and Wanda's performance, because they're both playing her. Those three, Catherine, Wanda, and Vision, are all playing different decades of themselves and doing it masterfully. But when Rambo's there, she's grounded. She's the straight-laced character. She's dialing in the performance in her facial features, in her eyes. Even when someone else is delivering lines, if you watch her eyes and her face, she's hearing them. She's not just hearing them as an actress hearing someone else's dialogue. She's hearing them as Monica Rambeau and reacting how Monica Rambeau would. So, yeah, I mean, I think you could give every main character on the show an Emmy. I mean, every one of them were Emmy performances.
Well, you definitely got to throw Elizabeth Olsen in there, obviously, with the work she did. Paul Bettany did an amazing job, too. Even when they had to go with old Vision versus new Vision and just doing the little subtle differences between them when they're having those interactions. I mean,
how cool was that that Vision wins a battle with his mind and wisdom? He do that. They had a whole discussion. That was just hilarious. How he win a battle with his mind. He had to fight it like that. I love that part.
Look, when I took some classes in college, and when they talked about the ship of Theseus, I was like, yes. I was like, that's perfect. The perfect like adaptation to Vision, fake but real Vision, and real but fake Vision. Like, which one is it? They're both Vision. Like,
I love, because it's like over here you've got two immensely powerful witches doing battle, screaming at each other and being violent, and then you have these two sentient minds, and one just goes, the ship of Theseus, and the other one just goes, yes, agreed.
Yes, tell
Battle
me more.
over.
But
We're
yes.
done. Good talk. I've got to go.
Understand.
Bye.
Press this button right here, and then I can remember everything. All right. Oh well. Bye. I'm really excited to see where he comes back, or Spectral Vision comes back. I'm really excited. I think it would be a good idea to bring him back in Armor Wars. But I don't know.
Because he is a creation of Tony.
Yes.
And Tyler was obviously trying to build a weapon. He was trying to he succeeded, you know, in weaponizing Vision. So he would be perfect for bringing him back with. And Rhodey would just be like, "Wait a second, Vision?
Why are you white?
You get a paint job? A little detail work?
What's going on?" Yeah, Vision says, "Yeah, I went to pimp my ride."
Yeah. Oh,
But
incredible.
I think a good thing too about this show is as much praise and adoration we're giving this show, they set up this future perfectly. They have set up. I mean, Monica's now going to be in Captain Marvel 2 and in Secret Invasions. Wanda, we know Wanda's going to be literally the main focal point. I tweeted this out in my kind of like overall discussion about it. Wanda is the Tony Stark or the RDJ in this last, he was kind of the main one. I feel like Wanda is going to be this main focal point in this MCU moving forward. I feel like everything is going to be directly tied in to her, as everything was to Tony. I mean, Wanda's going to be back in Spider-Man 3. She's going to be back in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. She might be back in something else. Who knows?
Well, and there's a huge possibility that this is what gets the Eternals' attention.
It could be. I mean, the one thing about this is now that we know that she is truly the Scarlet Witch now. I mean, obviously, this was the whole origin story for her.
Right.
And then she has the Darkhold, and she's now searching for her lost children. And we do know in some way, shape, and or form, we are getting a Young Avengers project. Whether it's a movie, whether it's a Disney Plus show, I don't know. Can't speculate that far. But with everything that is coming out, obviously, we do know that there is team members on all the next Disney Plus shows. The Patriot is going to be in Falcon Winter Soldier. America Chavez is going to be in Loki. Kate Bishop is in the Hawkeye series. Anything after that is fair game. Obviously, we know Miss Marvel is going to be there. Could they add her to Young Avengers? Sure. Let's just say for discussion's sake. This is going to be a catalyst for what's going on. And plus, with her sons being a focal point of Young Avengers, we do know there is a Kang tie-in, and we are going to see Kang earliest Quantumania.
I believe actually they said he's going to be at bits and pieces in Loki.
Okay. I could definitely see that with the time.
That's where I thought he was going to be introduced, honestly.
See, I got a weird...
It makes more sense.
Well, I got a weird feeling they're going to do a Mortis there first, because that would be just the curveball to throw everything on. And if you don't know who that character is, I don't even want to get into it. That's a Google story that we just don't have time to go down. So just Google trust me on that. Yeah, so I mean, they could definitely tie in that. So I think Wanda is going to be the catalyst for that, and obviously where her sons tie in, that's where I think we're going to see Agatha Harkness back in that Young Avengers project, whatever it's going to be.
And then the rumors about sorry, King.
No, go right, Dre.
And then the rumors I heard about Eternals, if I'm not mistaken, they said that it was a big threat that's gonna bring them back together. I don't know if they said what the threat's gonna be, but if Wanda is like the Iron Man of this new multiverse we going into, that could be what they was mentioning, because I know they said it's a threat that they have that brought them back out of hiding. We don't know yet, so that could be a possible. I don't know.
She could, she could be. It just depends on how they want to play it, because I think that this next phase of the MCU, and we've already seen it here just a little bit, is going to be time and time travel. Because as we saw with WandaVision, we got a small taste of that going from the 50s to the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, blah, blah, blah. So we have seen that. We do know Kang is going to be a major force in the next phase. To what degree is anybody's guess. And I think once you mix those two together, because they do have some history, that could lead into what brings the Avengers back. Like, my early guess is they're going to do Avengers Forever as the next major movie. So could that be the case? And obviously it ties everybody together. Sure, absolutely. So I think that, she could definitely be the RDJ of this next phase. It just depends on how they want to play her, because with her being arguably the most powerful character now in the MCU, that opens up a lot of doors. And if they really want to try doing a House of N type, or even a Dawn of X type, which I don't know if they necessarily would, but obviously if you want to bring the X-Men in, there's a couple different ways to do it. She could definitely be an easy way to do it. It's anybody's guess.
Yeah. I know this is going to kind of go off a beaten path a little bit, but we all heard about the rumor of the new kind of X-Men title that they've come out with. They're
Wasn't
under
it
the
the
working
Academy
title
or something.
It's called the Mutants. The original Stan Lee name for the X-Men were the Mutants, and Kevin Feige is going to be over that. So that's about, again, just take it with a grain of salt. It's just a rumor that's going out there, but Kevin Feige is going to be under it, and it's going to be under the working title of the Mutants. So we're getting there.
It's not the Wheelchair Academy.
No, I don't think so.
Gotcha.
The Jean Grey.
I saw that. I saw a meme. They were like, since everybody loves Umbrella Academy so much, let's just make the X-Men the Wheelchair Academy.
I heard about that
bro,
too.
Good Lord. It's like,
no.
I don't know, Rich, you got to take on this.
That.
I mean, Wheelchair Academy is good with me. Whatever sells. I mean, Mutants is good with me as well, but whatever sells. I mean,
just whatever Feige wants to do with it. But he knows with the Fantastic Four and X-Men now coming into the fold and everything that comes with it, they're going to take their time doing it because they want to make sure they do it right. We don't want to go down the Dark Phoenix hole and just absolutely burn everything up by the third movie.
This show did Dark Phoenix better than both Dark Phoenix movies.
Oh yeah,
Facts.
Which is proof that MCU, if down the road they want to, in 10,
just
12 years,
let it go.
I mean, that whole last
I think they've been like, that was us kind of saying we could if we want to,
we could,
but we don't have to.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because
we just did it better than you.
That whole scene when she was absorbing the power was Phoenix. It was like Dark Phoenix. I was like, what is Jean Grey now? Like this, it looked better than all the other graphics in other movies. But that one scene, she was absorbing everything and turning into what she turned into, But back with Ken comment about Magneto, I don't know how they're gonna work it as her being his daughter, but they might need to do that because he have Polaris, so they could probably leave her alone and just make Polaris his daughter and things like that. I mean, what you think about that, guys?
Polaris is obscure for mainstream.
She is, but this is one of the things with Disney Plus that I could see them taking a shot with her. And we know with The Gifted, she was on there. And actually was a big focal part, which I know Dom from East Coast Avengers, a big Gifted fan. And
enjoyed it. I did enjoyed that show. It was
good.
It was
and the fans really gravitated towards her. So it's not out of the realm of thought. I don't think they will do that for the movie, but the one thing with the X-Men line is like, if they really want to go like rename it Disney X instead of Disney Plus, they could probably do that, come out with 12 different shows, and that would be way too much sensory overload. And I don't even want to go down that direction, but I think they're going to definitely tie in Magneto to Scarlet Witch. I think that is probably a safe bet once they figure out what direction they want to go with.
How to do it, yeah.
Now, I want to, we can kind of either mull over it or we can get it out of the way and just not talk about it. Did they do Quicksilver, quote unquote, Pietro Maximoff, quote unquote, or Ralph Boner? Did they do that any justice, or do you think that was just like a haha, screw you people who thought this was the Foxverse? Because when I saw Evan Peters pop up, there was not a single thought that he was from the X-Men universe or the Fox universe. And let me tell you why. If I'm Kevin Feige and I'm running this show and I am, kind of pulling the strings a little bit, I personally would not want to bring anybody from that universe over, because do you understand how many questions I would have had to how bad this was written or how bad this was done or any of that? Like, the questions that he would have would be, I don't even think he could have answered any. I don't think he wants that headache. I do believe that he wants to just completely start over, and I think it's a smart idea. And I think when he does start over and when they do bring a new X-Men group in, don't start with the ones that we're already familiar with. Go further into these characters that have, deeper backstory or, more that the casual fans won't know. Like, that's how you need to start it. And also, don't screw over Scott Summers. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
that was not great. But I just think that Evan Peters just bringing here was just a meta nod to a lot of things, kind of like, we understand, where he's from, but that's not him. Don't overthink this, that kind of thing.
It was a master level trolling. It was beautiful. It was like, it's like something to make Diesel have a tear in his eye. With a tear in his eye, man. That's all it was. Think about it. Even the name, Ralph Boner.
Yeah.
They were telling you when you get that reveal, they were telling you exactly what they were doing. They knew that they gave a boner to everybody out there,
Yeah.
and they just stuck it to us. And that was perfect though. That's what you should do. You know, there was no intent ever to make that character Quicksilver. There was no intent ever to, make that to bring anybody over from that universe. They'll go through a full new casting when they're ready and their time and all that happy jazz. But I thought that was beautiful, man. Like I right when it happened, I was like, it's not him. This is great. I'm like, I love the fact that they brought the character back, but they knew what they were doing. It was trolling. It was good stuff, man.
Well, even his pop has quotes around the name.
Mm-hmm.
Like his pop has quotes. Pietro Maximoff.
Yep.
I was like, when that came out, like 3 episodes ago, when his pop debuted or was shown, I was like, they're telling us right then and there. They're telling us right now, like, dude, don't overthink this. We're toying with you.
I need a Ralph Boner pop.
Like Bettany toyed with you, saying who the big cameo was. I've always wanted to work with this guy. I was like, because then that got us going like, well, who's he been in movies with? We're on IMDb. We're like, okay, was Bettany in this with McKellen? Oh, he was in Da Vinci Code. Oh, has he been with Hugh Jackman in a movie? Oh, it could be Wolverine.
It was perfect. Oh, Bettany literally just, I don't know if he was trying to do that. He from the interview on Good Morning America, he almost sounded like it was a bad joke that only he laughed at and everybody else didn't. Everybody else was like, oh shit, let's start doing this, let's start doing that. And it's like, oh perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Paul Bettany was a master level troll.
Yeah,
master level. He also said that everybody's going to be real upset when they find out the surprise was me. Like, and guess what? The surprise was him.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I like some of the actors they got from the X-Men universe, the Fox universe. I kind of like some of them. I mean, I like Evan Peters' version of Quicksilver more than the one we got in this MCU world, my opinion. But like I said, I was disappointed, but because the multiverse thing was all coming to play, so I just thought that this Quicksilver from another universe and all that stuff. And like I said, they trolled us. They did a good job, and he delivered. But we was toyed with and trolled, and it wasn't him. But yeah, it is what it is.
But you know what? At worst case, though, I think they saw the reaction. So if they want to go back and bring Quicksilver back, I mean, they know they can do it. I don't think we're going to see a lot of the X-Men people. I think the only one that maybe is Hugh Jackman, because Ryan Reynolds wants to work with him on the next project. That's it.
Yeah.
Everybody else is going to be retconned.
The thing going around, was it like, we got this covered type? Like, it wasn't them who posted it. It wasn't them. But I was wondering, like, Ryan Reynolds is upset. He left a meeting about. Did you see that going around?
I did, but I was like, okay. Feige wants Deadpool in the MCU. The fact he has come out publicly and said he's going to do one rated R movie in the MCU, and that's Deadpool 3. Mm-hmm. He's letting Ryan Reynolds run the ship. I mean, there is no chance Reynolds is going to walk unless he can't get something he wants, in the sense of, okay, what's the story you want to do? Okay, we'll make this happen. Because he's basically the big free agent to bring over. Like with anybody else from the MCU, it doesn't, or from the Fox universe, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry. It doesn't. Everybody else is expendable. with the exception of Hugh Jackman, if they want to go get him, but obviously with Logan, why, unless they want to do Old Man Logan, and Ryan Reynolds. That's it. So the fact that they have conceded so many things for Reynolds, he's not walking away unless they said something like he couldn't do the Infinity Gauntlet or something crazy like that.
Yeah. Or Deadpool kills the MCU.
Yeah, like something like that. They wouldn't do. Even though that'd be amazing, and I want that on What If.
Yeah, that'd be good. What If? You can do it on What If. You can do about anything you want on What If. That's one show. I'm very excited for What If. Very excited for it.
And I'll be surprised if Ryan Reynolds put that into his movie. Well, I wanted to kill the whole movie universe, but the executive up top said I can't do that, so I got to stay nice and friendly. It'd be funny if you put that into a little line.
It could be the credits. The credits could be like, this is how my movie looked. And it literally, the whole credits is him walking into scenes and killing RDJ, killing Wanda Maximoff.
Have y'all seen the deleted end credit scene of Deadpool 2?
Yeah.
You know when he's going back in time with the cables thing, he goes to
Ryan Reynolds' house.
He goes to this like orphanage, or this it's got a bunch of babies and
Hitler.
Yeah, and he walks over to one of the cribs and he's like pumping himself up and he's like, all right, you can do this, you got this, and the camera pans over and the baby crib said A Hitler and he's like, no, you can't do this, no, you got to do this, and I was like, oh my god, that was perfect. Yeah, it was perfect.
But I think that
go. You're saying, Tyler, I'm sorry.
But I think that it was just some stupid that somebody had probably posted to get clicks, and like it was last night while watching AEW, and I was kind of scrolling, and I was like, wait a second, and there really wasn't any story to it. It was just like he marched out of a meeting and he's angry and he's leaving Deadpool 3, and I was like, okay. But then I didn't see anything else. So I was like, why would someone were they just looking for something to say to get people worked up?
I think the problem that we live in now is, and this will kind of tie in with WandaVision, is everybody wants to have that big exclusive. And even if it's not real, if there's like a little fraction of possibility, they're running with it. And this is something that, okay, even if it's clickbait, people are just so amped up to see new projects from the MCU. And obviously with the X-Men franchise and Fantastic Four coming over, everybody is just running with ideas. I mean, think back a couple weeks ago when Jennifer Lawrence was allegedly cast as Sue Storm and the internet lost their mind for a good day and a half. And it's like, people, pump the brakes. We haven't gotten any casting done, and let alone, they're not going to just do it on a random weekend, especially with WandaVision going on. They're going to pick their places to do this. I mean, Marvel is very calculating about this. If anything, we may hear some casting news to that degree at San Diego Comic-Con virtual this year, because they'll want to do something big this year. Right. I know last year they skipped out. This year, I fully think they're going to do something on that level, because con season is going to slowly start ramping back up. Obviously, we know that there is a live event tentatively scheduled in November for San Diego. So you're going to start hearing about those big castings then. It's just a matter of wait and see when we get there. Right.
I mean, and it did it before already. The internet was going crazy when it was introducing this and this back to back, this news. So they did it before. So it's got to be, like I said, it's hard to be patient being, geeks, nerds, we love this stuff so much. And it's like, just being patient, this could be hard, but we got to learn how to do that. Just to wait and see how things play out.
Agreed.
It's that waiting process. We want it now. Just give it to us now, but nope.
Well, this week we are getting a whole special about behind the scenes of WandaVision. So we've got that to look forward to. And then we get Falcon and Winter Soldier. We got a teaser trailer released
today
new one?
for Hawkeye. And
I didn't see. Oh, Hawkeye, really? Oh, I gotta look it up.
yes, there's a teaser for Hawkeye, and it
Okay.
kind of makes me think, what's the timeline? How long after Endgame is WandaVision?
3 weeks.
Directly.
After, right?
3 weeks?
3 weeks. It's basically directly, so like 3 weeks. Yeah.
So, what do you think Falcon and Winter Soldier will be? A month?
Roughly around the same time.
Around the same
Yeah.
time?
Same-
So are
same
all
time.
of these going to be like,
Same
this is
time, different
all-
areas.
yeah, this is all stories happening within a month after Endgame and before Far From Home?
Yes, I did. I actually did like that. The end of WandaVision tied into Far From Home, because that was the one question that people were confused about. They were like, "Wait, isn't Sword up in space in Far From Home? Why is it like what's going on?" And a lot of people were confused. And that credit scene when the Skrull told Monica that he wanted to see you. I mean, just say Nick Fury. We already know it. But he was like, he wants to see you up there. And she kind of pointed, looked up and smiled like, okay, now you have an idea that is Nick Fury and that is Sword up there in space at the end of Far From Home.
Okay.
But Ken, what were you saying?
No, I'm going to say all these projects are going to be right around that same time, because with Endgame, that was the big reset button. So every project we're going to see from Disney Plus right now is going to be directly a month after, give take, from where we're going to be. And I think that for Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's going to obviously tie directly into from Endgame and that time frame, because as we saw, Steve Rogers was aged properly. Since he went back in time to put the Infinity Stones, he decided to stay there. He can no longer be Captain America. It's going to be, okay, who's going to get the shield now? And this is going to play off the 80s story of Mark Renwell, the rest in peace, wrote when they decided to switch it up and bring in the U.S. agent. And, obviously that whole...
I was waiting for us to get to this, because I actually told my buddies Logan and Josh after AEW, I said, I can't wait for you all to meet U.S. Agent in this next show. And if you really want to know how somebody feels about U.S. Agent, listen to the ODPH, because go back and read U.S. Agent. Like, you may hate him more than Jar Jar Binks. We don't know yet, but you could.
I mean, obviously that means he's great. U.S. Agent has to be great if Ken M hates him. He hates Cody Rhodes' pyro. Cody Rhodes' pyro is great. There's nothing great that he doesn't hate. That's what he does. That's his gimmick.
How much is in your Kool-Aid?
Oh, Lordy.
Oh, my God. I mean,
if they would have casted better, we'd be okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not nothing against the actor playing him, but I mean, I could think of what I would have liked to see out of my U.S. Agent. Let's do it right. Let's do it tongue in cheek. Let's just do Mr. America, Hulk Hogan. Put him under the Mr. America gimmick. He's U.S. Agent.
John Cena.
We can do. I thought John Cena as well, but I mean, I understand John Cena's busy doing other things. But I'm just saying, let's do it tongue in cheek. We'll do Mr. America, but it's U.S. Agent. And it'll be Hulk Hogan. He just comes on and what you gonna do? Just one episode. Just what you gonna do, brother? And then they're just like, no, next, and then that's it. I think that'd been good.
I think you might actually hear the U.S. agent say that line too in this show. Like, I'm sorry, the U.S. agent is just one of the worst characters in all of comics. No, the one I can't stand the most is the Sentry. If I see the Sentry show up in the MCU, that's my Jar Jar level of hate.
Damn.
Okay. But Ken, and Kevin, we trust. Like we gotta agree to that. Come on, he can make a likely character be likable. It's possible.
Like I would. Let me counter with this, Dre. Have you ever read that story with the U.S. agent?
A little bit, but yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Like I'm sorry. He's the guy that I lift things up and put them down. And they give him the powers of they give him the shield of Captain America, and he is like literally the biggest idiot running around, and he is just like a yes sir in everything they ask him to do, and he like completely ruins the image of Captain America, and that's why he gets like brainwashed and comes back as even a worse jerk than he already was. Like I'm sorry, like it's just like basically they just keep throwing gasoline on this dumpster fire and keep going and spinning him in more books.
Okay, change my casting. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's in.
Now
You heard it here. You heard it
to
here.
the Avengers now. Where's the shield?
There is a little bit of Avengers Assembled that they could pull in as the next Avengers crossover, because if you watch the Avengers Assembled show, it's after a long separation. They've been separated for like a long period of time, and it's all about them reforming the Avengers. So there's some pretty good stories in that animated series, which that animated series caused a huge ass theory for WandaVision that Hayward was Ultron all along and he was going to shapeshift. That was one of the theories that got busted. Because there's this old rich white guy who dressed very similar to Hayward, and he shifts into Ultron. He's been playing them the whole time, and it was me the whole time, Tony. And so there's so many directions they could go. And we've talked about speculation. I don't want to do too much of that, but with the Hawkeye trailer, the reason it asked that question is
somebody said that to me, inbox me that because I can't find it. So yeah, inbox me that.
Yeah.
So my inbox it.
Absolutely. Fury looks a little younger.
Send it to everyone.
Yeah, he looks different. Fury looked a little different in the trailer. We don't know. This is sometime after Endgame, possibly, or they could swerve us and it's before Endgame. We don't know.
No,
I have
I think this is
question, right? Okay, I have a question right quick. So Far From Home, okay, since these shows are kind of like right behind after Endgame, is Far From Home ahead of further past these shows that we getting now? I'm confused a little.
Far From Home is set about eight months after Endgame.
Okay.
Yeah, because the two reasons that I kind of figured that out was at the very beginning, Betty Brant and her little high school newscast was like 8 months ago, a team of superheroes banded together and blah 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 blah. So yeah.
So right now on Disney Plus, what we're seeing is everything that gets us too Far From Home.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And then boom, we get Spider-Man 3.
Oh,
Back off to the races.
Cool.
And the MCU. So technically the first film we should get is Black Widow in May, but the first film that was going to continue on is Spider-Man 3 with, the biggest cast ever.
Allegedly.
Next. Keep on going.
So
I'll sprinkle that allegedly all day on that one.
They're spending some money.
Yeah.
They are spending more money than the Pyro crew at 8.
Well, that first of all, that is not hard. But secondly, I will say this: with all the money they're spending, you know what it is? It's because Disney is like, okay, blank check because Sony's paying. Let's go.
Yeah.
Who do we want to bring in? Oh yeah, we were thinking of this idea. This will work really well for you guys because Sony's sitting back going, hey, we finally made $1 billion on a movie. We can spend more money, and Disney's like, you absolutely can. How far in debt do you really want to go?
Yeah.
And that's really
how
kind
quick
of where they're at.
do you want to come on over?
Yeah.
You know, if you're gonna make $1 billion, you're gonna stamp that little Marvel Studio on your movie, and you're gonna make that money again. So let's keep and hey, get this person.
I agree they're gonna get paid, but I'm just saying that is what it is. It is literally Disney playing with house money. They're like, man, we don't have to spend like a dime on this movie. We just get to direct it. Okay, cool. So what we were thinking was we're going to take some of your old properties, and that's how they gassed them up too. They're like, it's going to tie back into those old movies. The ones that failed, we're going to tie back into them. But this is going to make you guys look like a genius. And they were like, yeah. I have a really good Jerry Lynn story about that way of saying, yeah, I can't tell it on this air, but we'll talk about it some other time. But anyways, that's exactly how that's going to go. That is exactly how that meeting went. So I am saying allegedly, I don't know if they're going to get everybody they said, but they're going to bring in a lot.
They're
of
going to get a lot
people
of names in.
just because they're just playing with house money at this point, man. And who isn't going to take that money? Like you're telling me Jamie Foxx is going to turn down some Electro money just to show up for a day to put on a costume? Like, come on, man. No, nobody's turning it down. I mean, he's still waiting to be Spawn. Damn it.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
And then on top of that, he knows this goes. See, it's gonna make close to over $1 billion. It's gonna make $1 billion. Everybody gonna see me, and this is the most popular thing out right now. So why not take that check for a day?
Oh, absolutely.
Get more exposure.
I wouldn't be shocked if Bruce Campbell even showed up for 5 seconds in a scene.
Oh, he's in it.
Oh, he's
in it.
Like all the easier ones. By the way, Bruce Campbell, if you guys don't know, this is a little horror thing. If you guys like horror movies, Bruce Campbell's going to be in a movie called Black Friday, coming out right around Black Friday time this year. It's him and Devon Sawa from Final Destination fame.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah, true story. The movie is actually done, and they wanted to release it last year, but the little pandemic situation, so they decided that they put it off, and they're doing some reshots because now that they got more money, because they announced that, and people were like, "Oh, Devon Sawa." By the way, Devon Sawa making his return in the Chucky series, coming to Sci-Fi and USA in the very near future as well.
Mm-hmm.
Heard about that.
So Devon Sawa is making a comeback. But yeah, Bruce Campbell's in. Come on, Bruce Campbell doesn't turn down pay jobs. He said no more Evil Dead. Then they were like, Evil Dead game, and he's like, okay, I'm back.
Yeah, sure, why not? Game, why not? We'll do that.
You know what?
I just said no more show.
Yeah. I'm excited for what all's to come. I don't want to keep you all too late. It's been great talking about WandaVision. So before we close this thing out, let's all listen and closely and intently to hear where you can find these amazing panel members. Rich, let us know where you can find you.
Ooh, yeah, I did shameless plugs earlier. It's easy. Go to 8122productions.com. Get all the information there. Of course, best way to get a hold of me is on Twitter at 3FatNerdsPod, but we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and now TikTok, thanks to you fine gentlemen. So 3 Fat Nerds Pod on all of that, just to find us. It's a wonderful thing. 3 Fat Nerds Podcast, anywhere get podcast by searching 3 Fat Nerds. Also stop by that. I'll do this for kind of twitch.tv/607 podcast. That's right. We're doing a whole bunch of stuff. We're playing MTG Arena over there. We're doing UFC fights. Pretty soon we're doing a one chip challenge and possibly a mukbang. I got to talk to you about that as part of the 100 subscriber or 100 follower thing. And also, of course, every Thursday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless we can go a little earlier. Of course, it's 607 Podcast presents The Wrestling Show. Myself and Ken M talking all things pro wrestling. And if you're a pro wrestling fan, you do not want to miss this Thursday. That's for sure. And of course, that also comes on podcast from the 3 Fat Nerds Network of Podcasting. Horror Zone 607. I got too much stuff going on. And people keep trying to add stuff to this. I don't know why. But
the busiest man in independent podcasting.
I am. I'm overworked, underpaid by a lot.
The one thing I said after that pay-per-view last night was one of the first things I said was, I cannot wait for the wrestling show this week.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
My buddy Logan was like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna get ripped a new one."
What y'all need to do is y'all need to get the sparklers from 4th of July and just stick them on the end of the table.
I wish, but it's like in New York, it's hard to find sparklers.
Yeah,
like every few seconds, you just keep relighting one.
If they would have been, if they would have had the decency to do it in the springtime, we've been in.
Yeah, we would,
because they would have popped up everywhere by then. But like in the winter,
get some candles.
That's a hard feat. I'm gonna try. I'll try.
Get some candles.
Maybe jump the border, go to PA.
That's true. Yeah, I wonder if they're open down there.
I'm gonna check. I'll check tomorrow. Get some Roman can. I don't know how they'll feel about Dragon Master Games. Will feel about me lighting up fireworks and stuff. But it's better. It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission, anyways. What was that noise? Nothing.
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
It's an exploding barbed wire death match. Damn it! That's what AEW.
That's what it is.
Ken Am, where can we find you, brother?
All right. So if you want to talk of why I hate the U.S. agent for the next 6 weeks, because trust me, I'm going to be going in on that because I can't see that damn character. And you want to find out what's going on with me, Padawan J, Coach Duffy, who is picking fights on Twitter with wrestling journalists this week.
I got to talk to him. He let me down.
Yeah. There's a whole other story with that going on. Simple. Swing on over to Ocho Duro Parlay.com. And you can find the links to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok now, thanks to the East Coast Avengers, inspiring everybody. They're the kings of comic TikTok. We'll give them that little credit. I know JT gets mad when I put him over like that, but it's true because he's always putting out content there each and every time. But if you want to find out everything going on with the ODPH, we got blogs coming out. I got to do some work for Valiant Comics Press, so there'll be something dropping this week about that. All that and so much more, because all the links I am forgetting about right now, just swing on over to ochodoroparlayhour.com or hit me up on Twitter at ODParlayHour.
Nice. Dre Driven, where we finding you at, man?
Well, Dre Driven 83, Instagram, Twitter, find me on that. That's all. And I just want to say, Dak Prescott got his money. Thank goodness. Jerry paid that man.
I was waiting on that. I was waiting, Dre. Because Tyler is a fellow Cowboy fan with you.
I'm a big Cowboys fan. And when I saw the news today, I was like, well, now we're going to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Okay.
No. See, I'm gonna be realistic, so I'm not gonna go there.
It's that's all we needed. The entire time, that's all we needed was Dak to get paid. Now he's gonna be like, we're going to a Super Bowl, guys.
Oh man.
As long as I'm paid.
When we get a time, Tyler. When we get a time, that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah. We've got plenty. I mean, we've got plenty of time now. Now that he's been paid, we've got tons of times to play with. But let's move on over. And last but certainly not least, he's gotten a lot of praise for getting us all to move to TikTok because he's killing it on TikTok. JT, where can we find the East Coast Avengers?
Yeah, you can pretty much find us anywhere. We're on YouTube, East Coast Avengers. We are on Instagram, ECA_podcast. We are on Twitter at East Coast Avengers, and Avengers is actually spelled AVNGRS. No E's, because Twitter doesn't like the E's in there. And TikTok, you can find us at ECA_podcast, I believe. And we're also on Twitch, just got affiliated, so that was awesome. We're if you don't know any of the links, just go to our Twitter. And you can check out all of our links on there as well.
I have been enjoying the verses every day.
Yes, they have been
enjoying the verses. Some of the winners have shocked me.
Well, you know what I'll say. I'll say this: just wait till round 2.
Okay.
If you think those matchups were pretty easy, just wait until your 2 favorites have to go head to head. So
okay, wow.
It'll be quite interesting. I know a lot of people were saying, these matchups are quite easy to pick the winner of. And I have to speculate, and I have to not speculate, but I have to put over the fact that this is your favorite villain, not who would win in a fight, because some of those characters would not have been, not stand a chance.
Yeah.
But who is your favorite MCU villain? Right now, I believe it is Thanos and Korath. I mean,
wow.
I'll that's
say
like
this.
The 116 seed.
Yeah.
See, how I did it was I got 32 MCU villains out of like the billion that there are.
Yeah.
And when I mean billion, I mean like when I looked it up online to find out who these people were, it were like the 2 exploding people from Iron Man 3. Like what? Like they don't. I'm not gonna add those. So
was the Wrecking Crew on this list?
I don't even remember, honestly.
Gotcha.
There were a lot that I just completely dismissed, and so I picked 32 of them, put them in a box, and then randomly picked 2 out. There's the one matchup. Pick 2. There's the other matchup. So they'll get a lot better. I promise. They'll get a lot better once round 2, round 3. I did have 4 number 1 seeds, and those would be Thanos, Loki, Ultron, and Baron Zemo. And all 4 are in each quadrant. So that may be, and I did not do that. That was completely on accident. Did not mean to do that on purpose. They just happened to be. So
that could be the final 4. Yeah,
that could be. That could again. It could. So, but yeah, that's going on right now. It'll be going out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you'll get a full day to vote, share it, get everybody voting and stuff, and then we post those on our Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok. So
Great.
If Zemo kills U.S. Agent during Falcon and Winter Soldier, can he get an automatic bye to the finals?
Good question.
Maybe.
Okay.
If the matchup hasn't happened yet, so.
Okay.
All right, I will be spamming that box. I'll be making burner accounts. Zemo all day.
You'd be hitting it harder than a kid hitting X on a trying to beat the boss easier, because obviously video game logic, the harder you hit the button, the more damage you do.
Oh, exactly. I'll go get some insurance for some iPhones. Like, I'll just go into the stores and be like, yo, can I just test this out? I gotta see if this works.
Just make multiple accounts, and then
there you go.
Just hit every single time. But no, I appreciate you guys just chatting it up again. It's been a lot of fun. Can't wait to do this next time, y'all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you've
I want to say before, in the words of Pat, it was Agatha the whole time.
It was
Well said, Dre.
Well said. And if you'd like to reach out to us on social media for anything that we discussed, agreements, disagreements, thoughts, what have you, use the hashtag Council of Nerds. We're going to be on the lookout. We're constantly all on social media, and we love interacting with our various listeners. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Until the next time, this is Tyler for the 30 Nerdy Podcast. This is the Council of Nerds. Peace out, nerds.
All right.